video because I recently had a realization during my career coaching session that definitely shifted the way I saw myself. And I just want to share with you guys. So before doing the career session, sorry, um, I thought I didn't figure a lot of things out in terms of like if I was going in the right direction. I always thought, oh, like maybe I haven't figured it out because it wasn't going the way I thought it was going. Um, I always thought somehow like I didn't have a lot of strengths or I wasn't like working fully in my strengths and I didn't know them. I always had this sense of like, okay, there must be something more out there like that I'm trying to figure it out. Um, and so I just had a sense of feeling where I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Even though I'm doing all the things that I find I do enjoy, like making videos, writing, all that stuff, I was like, okay, there must be something else because I'm not where I am. And so maybe I'm missing something. Now, I've had people in the past tell me to not underestimate the things that I'm already good at because there's a lot of people who are not good at them. But I usually would be like, okay, what the heck are you talking about? Because I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Okay. Like that's where it was. So I actually recently went into so I went into the career coaching session, and the first one I just explained like my background, like you know how I used to have a business and then now I have a job um as a bus driver actually. And um I shared with her like I wonder what I would do next, like apart from like trying to build this business online. And she told me, hey, you could do the Mary Briggs test, and then you could do a different test like that will test your interest. So I was like, okay. And so, guys, I need to share with you the reveal. Okay. So let me tell you. Okay. So basically, it came out. And I ended up doing the assessment for the Mary Briggs. And so I ended up being ENTP. And so I'm reading from my notes here. And so ENTP was people who prefer extroversion, and they tend to focus on the outer world of people and activity, which is very true. Because you're basically like an extrovert, right? And I do enjoy like that type of stuff, like activities and like meeting people and getting to know them. And then it said the next one was intuition. So, and which is I tend to prefer to take intuition and taking information from patterns and the big picture and focus on future possibilities. And it is true because I am a big picture person. And the next one was I prefer thinking, meaning I tend to make decisions based primarily on logic and an objective analysis of cause and effect. So yes, I do like to take things that is based on logic, but sometimes I have to admit I do have to control that because sometimes you have to just like choose from here, right? It's not always up here. The next one was I preferred perceiving. So I tend to like flexibility, being spontaneous, and have a spontaneous approach to life. And want to keep their option open, which is very true. I love being spontaneous and trying new things and being open to a lot of options. It can be a pros and cons, but definitely like I thought it was me. Um, some of the things that they said, which I thought was accurate, was I love analyzing complex situations, developing strategies and developing opportunities and selling others on new ideas. And I was like, dang, how did they know this? And it's true. And it's funny enough, I was just telling my um, therapist where I was like, yeah, like I love a challenge. Like I love getting a challenge and then like overcoming it and then being like, okay, on to the next thing because I get bored. Right. So I love a good challenge. So right now I'm gonna admit to you, YouTube is my challenge. Okay. Um, I love developing strategies. I love that stuff. Like I like coming up with a new strategy and like, like implementing it, and like my mind is always constantly developing strategies because I think they're so powerful and they're fun. It keeps my mind going and it doesn't allow me to get bored because I get bored very quickly. And next one is I like developing opportunities. Very true. And that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm developing like these products, like a library products, like journals and different digital tools to help women be their best selves. So that's something I'm doing, and selling others on new ideas, hence the like journals and stuff. Definitely check out the self connection journal that I have in the store. But anyways, and then on the other test, which is the strong interest, um, and then before we get that, so um it did mention some of the stuff that I like. Is like I like sales basically, creative writing, marketing. And then I like research related positions. And it was a very long list, but I'm just sharing in a nutshell so you can get an idea about my next point. The next was a strong interest in inventory. So this was a different one. And it says my top basically interests were enterprising, selling, persuasion, conventional, organization, data management. Basically, I like organizing data in systems and doing like accounting type stuff. That made a lot of sense because usually when I get a spreadsheet and I start going getting organizing information, I get lost. Um, and the last one was artistic, which is true. Like I like to express myself in art. I really enjoy that. And it has a lot to do like with composing, like music or doing creative writing. And I say I do enjoy writing for sure. And so my realization was like when I first saw those tests, I was like, wait, what? Like, what is going on here? And I remember thinking like, okay, what is going on here? What is happening? Because I looked at it and said, this is actually me. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting the test to be like shocked and be like, oh my God, I didn't know this about myself. But it was more of a, oh my God, I didn't realize like that was an actual strength. Like, I think it's like I naturally just started doing those things. Like, I just naturally started doing those things. And because I was so accustomed to doing those things, I didn't realize it was an actual strength. And so when I went to her, I was like, I'm not really shocked by this test. And then she was like, yeah, you're not supposed to because it's you. Most people are not shocked by it because most likely you're already doing something from it. Um, and I think that what blew my mind is like, it was just some of the, like, when it talked about persuasion and sales, I discovered, like, from reading that, I was like, yeah, like every time I've done sales, usually I make the most money when I do sales. But then there's periods where you get tired of it and then you're like, okay, let me take a break. But I realized that was true. Like usually I'm very good at it. Like um but I remember thinking I'm like I didn't think that was like some type of gift. I was just like I just do sales. Even like the organizing data, I just enjoy doing it. I just enjoy creating systems. Like this is not like oh my god, like I thought everyone can do like this type of thing. Um And it made me realize, like, I was already just like I said, I was already operating my strengths. And I figured out more than I realized. And I remember talking to my life coach, and I said, I get what you mean now, because there was a point in our call where she was like, I think you figured out more than you realize. And I remember thinking, what? What is she talking about? I'm nowhere where I want to be. Um, and I think it was just eye opening because when I saw this test, I thought back to what she told me. And I was like, maybe this is what she was talking about. Like, I'm more closer than I think. Like, from that test, I realized I was already operating in the things that I enjoy doing. So it's almost like I was in some type of rat race, which was like just odd. And it made me realize like how much we underestimate ourselves, or I don't know. It's like we have ourselves in a spiral for no reason when we figured out more than we realize. It's just that sometimes we have to put it together or realize that it's an actual strength and it's not just, oh, because I have to do it. Like, no, you're naturally doing that thing. that you're meant to do. Like every time you think, "Oh, I'm not in the right place right now," you have to realize you are in the right place right now. You're exactly where you need to be. I think a lot of it is just being consistent and being confident in what you're doing, because if you're not confident in what you're doing, then you're always going to be thinking, okay, there must be something better, there must be something else. When there ain't something else, like I'm sorry to break it to you, there's nothing else. Um and I just want you to take away from this to know that if you're in a place where you're like, oh, I don't know what I should do next, or I don't know what my purpose is, I can tell you, you know what it is. Like, you know deep down what it is. You're just most likely talking yourself out of it. Stop it. Like, you're more most likely, even like, what's that word? It's not discrediting. You're just like downplaying what you currently do every day naturally that most people don't do, and you're thinking, oh, it's just a normal thing, it's just like a 1 out of 10, nothing special. And it's nothing that like that. Like, there's people out there that wouldn't even do half the things you're doing. I remember like the career coaching was giving examples because it said that I'm very basically it was saying like I'm very tech savvy, like I'm good with software and figuring it out. And I was like, yeah, like I usually naturally use certain softwares to help me in my life. Like, hey, like I just naturally do it because I like it and I figure out ways to use it. And I just thought that was a normal thing. Like most people know how to do it. But then I thought back, and sometimes my therapist would ask me, like, oh, how are you using that thing? Or like, how do you use it? And I remember thinking, like, why is she asking me that? Like, it's a normal thing. Like, right. And then the career coach actually started giving me examples where she was like, no, I've had clients that are not like savvy, like they're not good with like softwares and all that stuff. And it's just refreshing to hear stuff like this. Like it makes you realize like what you're good at, other people aren't. It's just not a thing. And I think it was so cool. I think what blew my mind is how as humans we naturally just walk into that thing. Like we naturally do the thing. Like that's just how we are. Like which is so cool. Like we naturally That's why I don't believe when someone says, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing or I don't know my purpose," because you naturally know what you're doing. Um, you're naturally just following into place. You're just following into that pattern that God created for you. You're naturally walking that pathway that God has for you. It's just that you don't see the end yet. You don't see the big picture yet. But you're naturally walking into it. Like every decision you make, it's not like a mistake. Every decision you make, it's not like you're just like choosing that like that like what how do I say, you're not choosing that decision just to choose it. Like there's a reason why you're just walking in that path because it's easy. There's a lot of things that people won't do. Like a lot of people won't even go on video or create a journal from scratch, for example, because it doesn't come easy to them. It's like not a natural thing, right? Where on the other hand, it's easy for me to come in video, for example. I'm just giving an example, right? And yes, some things can be hard. I believe some things can be hard, and you have to like sometimes learn it and then build your strength in it and your skills and your reps. But like, there's some things that people just won't do because they're like, this is overwhelming. I'm not touching that. But maybe it's easy for them to open up a book and just start drawing people, right? Or it's easy for them to just go to the gym because maybe they like working. I don't know. They like working your body. Now, everyone, like, obviously, that's like, you have to do for your health, but like, there's just some stuff that I find people are just interested from young, and you have to pay attention to what are your interests. What were the stuff that you're interested from young that you just naturally did? Like, I remember when I was younger, like, I naturally knew how to read books at a very young age. Like, I was reading very fast, writing very fast. Like, it was just a natural thing for me. So I'm just here to remind you, like, if you feel like, oh, I don't know, like, trust me, deep down, you're already doing probably what you don't realize you're doing that is your actual strength. Tap into it. Tap into it. And by the way, I linked in the bio my self connection video, self connection journal for you, so you can tap into yourself, reconnect with yourself, and let those type of things get more clear to you as well. Um, and because I find that the more you spend time with yourself, the more things get clear and it opens up your mind. So don't underestimate that journey.